Hey guys, welcome to Failing with Style. We are here with Andrew and Raul. It's a big announcement today because Andrew is joining us to this Failing with Style podcast as I'm going to be starting some classes soon. So he's going to help us keep moving this podcast forward, which is a great service to us. So thank you, Andrew, because he is not getting paid for this.
Thank you for having. Wait, what?
You're getting paid?
No, he's not. He's not getting paid for this.
That's not what we discussed. So
well, we'll talk about it after. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very excited to further partake in this podcast. Can we reshoot that?
No, we continue. This is how it works. Raul, you wanna? Yeah, I don't know, man. This is odd. This is odd for me because I've never done a 3 thing, and so there I go. But you know what I mean.
Wait, now we were talking about innuendos.
You know this is what's going to get the 2,000 views on YouTube.
Oh, that's going to get 200 views right there.
I just keep digging these holes for myself.
I'm so sorry, Eric.
I'm married, guys. All right, Raul, just take over, man. I'm digging into this hole.
Okay, firstly, I am not cutting off Daisy. Daisy has now passed off the talking ability to me, so I want to state that. Hi, everyone. So, yes, Andrew's going to be joining us. Daisy, in previous episodes, we've talked about a lot about like controlling your stack and controlling like the amount of workload you have on yourself. And Daisy did something very responsible, very adult of her. She wants to commit 100% to these classes, and she felt like she couldn't give our listeners and our viewership the 100% here, which is more than fine, which is great. And so to help us kind of give our viewers and give you guys, some nice content, we brought on probably one of the most underrated people in our lives, which is Andrew.
I don't think you're underrated, Andrew, but...
Wow, dude, what a compliment. The most underrated. So, like, is my PR... I'm just thinking I have to hire a new PR team. I'm not underrated, honestly.
You are like a really good 5th quarterback in Madden. Like, yes. You have like an 89, 88 score. You're not top 10 person, but you're like, oh, that guy's great though. He comes in the clutch.
Yeah, I'll still pick that team, even though the quarterback's an 89.
Like, even though half your face is going to remain on camera for the rest
God
of the show.
It's like, does he have your phone on a water bottle? It keeps moving? Like
what? Yeah, I guess it's because I don't have like a fixed thing to like. And since I'm looking at you guys and the camera's on the left, like I feel like my face keeps like drifting further to the
right. You just have to self-correct you every like 5 minutes.
I'm gonna like tie myself off so that like I can't drift over. I keep wanting to do.
Yeah, bear with us, guys. That's why we're called Failing with Style.
Yeah.
It's kind of like very foolproof for us because we can literally like do anything, and I mean, just look at the title, and you'll understand.
Yeah. I mean, I have the failing part down packed. It's the with style part that I guess I need to work on.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will help me establish myself as a with style person.
As a failure. Today's episode is actually really circulates around why Andrew's here, and we're talking about support systems. I don't know if Daisy, if you want to give a good definition on that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because I very much grew up in a big family, and a big Venezuelan Hispanic household, which you are expected to do things on your own and like figure things out on your own, but it's never a question. If you need help, there's always someone around to help you. And so actually then going into work and things like that, it's almost like everything's on you and there ain't no help for you. And so I have a little problem with that, I guess. Like, I don't know how to be okay with that, or if I should be okay with that, if I should just be like, oh yeah, I should just be doing everything on my own and not rely on anyone. Or if it's okay to ask for help like I did today, right? And not feel guilty about it because yeah, I've been battling with that. So I'll just open up the platform and see. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Andrew, you work in a very team-oriented environment. I think you'd be a great person to talk on this.
Well, thank you for passing the baton to me, Raul, and not interrupting Daisy for once. Yeah, honestly, like that's something that has been difficult for me to, I guess, develop on my own. Like when I hear you say like support, I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is probably like a mentor, right? And especially coming from that company that we all used to work for, it was kind of, it created like that fake mentorship. Like your boss always like, oh, I'm here for you. I'm always here to help you. But it wasn't like a true support system. It always felt like kind of, for lack of a better word, like just bullshit. It was fake. So I guess when I started working where I work now, it took me a while to kind of realize what it actually meant to create a support system and what it meant to seek that out. But it is really important. I think it really has changed the game. Finding those people that you can go to and trust and can provide that guidance in your career and show you the way forward when you have those questions. Because it's so hard to just find a path for yourself. It's like I find it like walking through the forest like with no flashlight at night. Like who can do that? So I think like that was a huge game changer. I want to say probably about like a year and a half ago, like I really approached somebody that I really respect at work and was just honest with them. Said, hey, this is, your career is essentially what I would like, the path I would like to follow. And, I really respect you and I really appreciate it if, I could come to you for advice and they were really open to it. But I think the biggest thing is, unless you're very lucky, I don't think that anybody's going to offer that to you unless you ask for it. So I think that's like, in my opinion, probably the biggest takeaway from that situation is just to like realize what it is that you're looking for, identify that person and approach them and have an honest conversation with them. And I think most people are, like if somebody came up to me, I mean, I wouldn't have much information to share, but I would be so flattered that there's no way that I would turn them away, right? Like, so I think that's probably like the biggest thing, like just seeking that person out and making yourself known to them.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all come from medical backgrounds. So we all kind of, there's a hierarchy in hospitals and the medical field, like where you go, like it goes doctors, your nurse practitioner, PAs, and then like your nurses. And it's just like this natural hierarchy that occurs. I'm not saying that one specialty is better than the other, one discipline is better than the other, but we all always try to look for advice from the wiser of us. I think that's something we all naturally do, which is a good tactic to have. You don't want to learn stuff from like, I don't know, a person hasn't been on the job. The older, okay, this is another criticism I get about the podcast. Apparently, this sequence I say pretty much every episode.
What do you
so
say?
get ready. Here we go. The older I get, the more I realize the difference between being intelligent and wise. And like being wise is knowing the experience, knowing like the better paths to take in your career and your life and the choices to make in your life. And that's good with a mentor or with someone older in your position to have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it's kind of like this. It's all on you to ask, right? And I don't know, like, why can't it be a little different where those services are just provided for you? Why do we have to like go through this whole mind game of like, what do I do?
I'll tell you why. I think I have an answer to this.
Hey, good.
A person who has like the wisdom, who has the knowledge to impart, they don't want to impart it onto a person that doesn't give a crap. They want to impart it on a person who cares, who wants it, who desires the knowledge, you know? And I think that's a big thing because like, have you ever talked to someone, try to explain something, a profession, a dorky thing you like, sports, comedy, art? Have you ever tried to explain to someone who does not care, who has no interest or any consideration for the topic? It's impossible, and it frustrates you within the first minute of trying to do the explanation. So I think like to see the desire for the knowledge and desire for like advice is something that the one who's craving this needs to impart, or at least you need to fake that you care.
Fake that you care.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you're not faking it, right? Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that like that kind of applies to like careers used to have like apprenticeships.
Yeah.
So it was like your mentor was already like built in. You had a person who was their explicit job was to teach you the ropes, and, like show you how to make it through this career, how to do what it is that you want to do. But that's not a part of careers anymore. You go to school, you learn how to do, you allegedly learn how to do the career that you want to pursue, and then you start working and you just do it, right? There's no there's no expectation to like learn after the fact of after you're done going to school, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, it's not, you know, you don't have that built in, like you have to seek out that additional component.
Yeah. This brings me to an interesting thought. Do you think more people learn now, like legitimately learn, from another person or from Google? I'm not kidding. I know it's funny, but I'm being kind of a little serious about this.
I'll speak to that. I think because I do this myself, like I'm definitely verifying the person who tells me the fact. I mean, that's why we were trying to hire Andrew to do the fact checking. Raul is too confident on his facts and numbers. I think like you're pretty good on having facts, Raul, but then you throw in numbers and it's like, is it that number? I don't know. Let's
There's
fact
only
check.
one episode. There's only one time, and that number was true in 2012. Okay, after 2012, yes. Then like
you gotta like follow it up with the year too. Like if you're gonna throw out facts like that,
I'm gonna have to cite. I'll have to make a bibliography for every time I talk on this podcast.
I mean, that's how you're supposed to do it. So I always double verify. Like someone tells me something, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not true. It is true. Okay, but I think it keeps people more accountable because you just can't be saying like shit all the time, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think to consider like Google as a mentor, like sure, like there's the amount of information that's available on Google is essentially infinite, but at the same time, Google, I don't think is great at showing you how to put things into play, right? Like, or showing you like a progression. Like you can ask it like one step on the ladder, but it doesn't show you like how to climb that ladder.
Yeah, that like in the career field aspect, yes. But where, for example, I don't know if anyone's ever worked on their car recently. I don't even call people I think who knows cars. The first thing I do is I go on YouTube and I look up how to repair that thing in the car.
That's YouTube dad. That's what they call that.
YouTube has now become kind of daddish. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And it is kind of mentory. I had to drop a business proposal recently. I went to YouTube. I went like, I'm not even kidding. Yes, I had it verified. I had it looked over by a lawyer, but it's now becoming, I think, more prevalent nowadays that people don't go person to person communication like that, or person to person learning like that is falling off a steep cliff, I feel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of sad. Like, we don't talk to each other anymore.
Really, truly.
It's like we dismiss each other. Like, you ask somebody a question, they give you the answer, and they're just like, whatever. Like,
yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah, I guess like the cool thing about YouTube and like the safe thing about it is that YouTube's never going to judge you. Like you're not going to search like, hey, how to change the oil in my car, and YouTube's not going to say, I can't believe you don't know how to do that. Whereas if you call me, I'd be like, wow, Raul, I can't believe you don't know how to change that.
You have to go through all of that first.
Yeah. But you do have to go through like slight embarrassment before I teach you how to do the thing,
right? So would you say like if you weren't so judgmental, it'd be easier to talk to each other? I don't know, or to like ask each other for help? Because then not for you, Andrew, like we all know you're messing around, it doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want.
No, I'm judging.
But I think that does, like, you want to be able to ask a question and not feel shame around it. And that's how you get further in life. So I don't know. Is it like, maybe it's each one of us has to work on that. Like, but also like just kind of being able to take jokes. Like if Andrew were to tell me that, like, oh, Daisy, you know what that answer is? I'm like, yeah, who cares? Can you just tell me? Like,
let me ask, because I've been thinking a lot about this lately. A lot. I've been thinking about like you need to have negatives to truly enjoy when a positive thing happens. You need to have horrible things happen for great things to feel that much better and to realize the good and the great thing. Do you feel like that moment of shame for the person asking, or for the lay person entering a job, do you feel like that helps instill the lesson or the knowledge better?
Andrew, you want to answer that? You don't know?
I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about, like, especially like in my career field, like there's a huge tradition of like, kind of like, oh my God, you don't know how to do that. Like, that, and without like sounding like too much like a millennial, like woke guy, like I think it's just toxic. Like, I don't think that there's necessarily much good that comes from that.
Yeah, I mean, not like to the nth level. I'm like within reason. Within reason.
But whether it's the nth level or if it's like at the basic level, it's the same thing essentially, right?
I mean, maybe because I'm like a hard learner. I'm blockheaded sometimes, and like the lessons from life I take away are like the lessons that sometimes are hard learned. Don't get me wrong. There were sometimes that it was like the easy way. I listened to my wiser elder person, but some of the lessons that are like burnt into my memory are lessons that do involve shame or failure and stuff like that.
But do you, because okay, do you ever feel like that, like cringy moment? Do you still feel that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. No, oh man, we're getting really philosophical. Andrew, but do you feel like you experiencing that cringy moment taught you, hey, I shouldn't do that to others?
I think to a degree, sure, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that worries me about like that cringy moment, right, is so that cringy moment can either make you feel like, okay, I'm never gonna feel that way again, so I want to learn everything I can possibly learn and make myself the
Mm-hmm.
best iteration of myself that I can be.
Yes.
Or it can make you feel like, oh, I'm never gonna feel that cringy moment again, so I'm just never gonna ask for help again. And I think that
Yes.
that's where, like, I don't know. I think you have to take like each person into account because, like, for me anyway, I, I mean, I don't really like. I do feel embarrassment, obviously. Like, I think everybody obviously feels embarrassment, but like, it doesn't feel like much of a hindrance to me. Like, uh, I mean, you can ask my girlfriend. Like, sometimes I crave like creating embarrassing moments, you know, and that's probably like the thing that she hates the most about me. So like embarrassment doesn't, but like I worry about like creating that for other people and like what that means as far as like we're talking about people preferring to go to YouTube than asking other people, like, you know, I don't know. I think it kind of sucks. Like I like that human connection and I feel like we're losing that. So I feel like creating that embarrassing moment is like making it worse.
You know, if I can speak to that, because Andrew, like you created an embarrassing moment for me and Eric when we were, and I still remember it, but I remember it with a fond heart, because we were buying mugs at this Comic Con, and I don't know what you said. It was something along the lines of like, but you yelled it very loud. You're like, "You're gonna buy another mug again?" It's like with like everyone around, we're like, "Oh my god, fucking Andrew!" But
Oh man.
also, I mean, okay, so if we can like dissect that for a little bit, it's almost like what harm did it do? And I think that
Oh no.
is the intention behind it, right? Like Andrew was just
Oh,
trying to poke
absolutely.
some fun. I mean, we had to take the embarrassment, but it's not like something that we're mad at Andrew for, you know, because it wasn't like he
Yeah.
was doing it with bad intentions and it was just at our cost, but whatever. Like, what did I die? You know, so I think it has to do with intentions and because sometimes people come at you so mean and it's like, was that necessary? Can you just be nice to me? I'm asking a question so I could learn and grow. You don't have to we don't have to go through this like nastiness all the time, you know? Whereas like when I take things from like Andy or Andrew or Raul where you like just saying funny things, I can take it lightheartedly because I know you're not coming at me with bad intentions, you know?
Okay.
Right? Do you like that story, Andrew? Do you
I
remember
love it.
I
that?
love the
I
story.
don't
Great story.
explicitly remember it,
I
but
have
that's
the
totally
mug.
something that I would say, and
I
I
Yeah.
have the
love
pictures. Oh my
Dude,
god.
I'm so excited to like. You have to send me a picture of the mug. Like, had you bought multiple mugs that day or something? Or
We were on a like shopping spree and and I think you were noticing that, so you just like decided to to go all
Let's
in at that
also not
point.
forget that Andrew went to that convention. He was like, "I'm gonna go dressed up." I'm like, "Okay, bro, you can go dressed up, whatever you want." I went up. I went like as a character from like a Disney show, and Andrew went in a robe.
Oh yeah. He got a
I
lot of
was just
compliments for
dressed up.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. It was a
yeah,
great robe.
but people kept asking me, "What character are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just here as myself, relaxing."
Relaxing. This hectic convention. Yeah, I
um,
mean kindness, right?
Yes.
yeah,
I think males can be really mean. I'm
Well,
just saying
that's
it.
our love language.
yeah.
The love language between male friends is to shit on each other. Is to, excuse my French, but like to like poke holes at one another because it's really us like just bonding on like an nth level, I guess.
Can I ask you guys?
Um,
Sorry to interrupt,
yeah.
Raul, but before I forget, is this bro friendship of poking at each other, does it hurt sometimes? Like you get at a core.
Oh, yeah. It's the whole purpose.
That's the whole
Yeah.
purpose.
Sometimes.
I mean, it definitely hurts. Yeah, but I think like a lot of times, like that pain is necessary. So here's one of those situations where I think that pain is necessary, right? Like, because you might not feel super comfortable about something, but you can also lie to yourself about that thing, like, oh, it's not that big a deal, right? And somebody will come and make a joke and like pick at it, and you realize, oh yeah, it actually is like a pretty big deal. Like, I need to take care of this thing, right? So,
like Andrew feeling that LeBron James is not the richest athlete in the world.
I mean, that's a fact. That's not an opinion. So it's definitely not.
How about you, Raul?
So I hate like using like this vernacular, but that is it's gonna sound so crappy, but it is a form of locker room talk. Like it's kind of like that's where it usually occurs. It occurs in like team sports settings, and occurs in like groups of dudes. That's the best way I can describe it. Squads of dudes. But it is gonna like, yeah, it's a great way of like, hey, this is kind of your weakness, bro, and like we're bringing it up here because this is my mind. This could be like the mental gymnastics I'm doing on the thought process of this, but we care about you as a one of us, and we're gonna bring up this weak thing because God forbid someone else brings it up outside of us in public. We want you to be ready for it. We want you to have kind of tough skin for it. And also we want you to learn to take the offensive and hit us with that kind of crap. So
is there
I don't know
is there any like can you go to anyone after you've been roasted and be like, can I talk about this to you because it hurts? Like, is there any of that, or you guys just deal with it on your own? You go home, you cry, you write in your journal, listen to sad songs.
Whoa, write in your journal? Excuse me?
I don't know how it works in the male world.
Can you imagine if one of those dudes finds your journal? Oh my god.
Yeah, like who did you talk about when I roasted you about buying 6 mugs that day?
Well, Eric.
Yeah, I talked to Eric about it. Andrew was really mean. Or Katie. I went to Katie.
Yeah, I think you have a friend that like you're ultimately going to confide in a lot. Like Andrew was like that for me when we worked in our other place. Yeah, there are definitely people in my comedy group. There are people I confide in, and like I'm like, hey man, like yeah, that really bummed me out. So,
how about you, Andrew? You deal with it yourself, or?
I think primarily you deal with it yourself, but there's always, like Raul was saying, like you always have like that one friend that you can confide in, right? Like, and it's not always the same person for everything. Like I feel like I have one friend that I talk about like my relationship issues with, or one friend that I talk about like my work issues with, or yeah, I mean, I think that, like getting back to like the original subject, like setting up that support system and knowing who's not necessarily who's the best, but who you trust the most for those things, right? Because I mean, just because one person's like an expert or I feel the closest to one person doesn't mean that I necessarily trust their opinion on everything. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yes, like I'll go out and like seek out that person and be like, hey, how do I take this weakness and shield it a little bit so I can't get roasted so hard anymore.
Yeah, that's a good way.
I don't know. How about you? Like, what do you? What's like the female perspective on this? Like, how do you deal with roasting?
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I grew around a lot of males, so like I had a lot of male cousins in my life, and I have very few girl cousins. So growing up, I knew how to relate more to men than I did to women. Um, so I'm kind of used to getting roasted, but as a woman, I still was very emotional, and like it would get to me at another level that it wouldn't get to like my brother or my cousin per se. So then I started gravitating towards like more women groups because I'm like, damn, these guys are really like messing with me, man. Like, like there's some things that really like dig at you, and so now I've been making more of women relationships because I can understand that we all go through it and we can talk about it, and our talks are pretty extensive. And it is a lot of mental gymnastics, right? Because you if you don't talk about it to anyone, then you can just be telling yourself a bunch of things that are probably not right and are weighing you down. But if you have some other person that you can just talk to about it, they can either tell you no, you're in the wrong, or no, you're in the right, and like give you a perspective outside of your mind. And for me, women relationships have provided that for me, like a safe space where I can just talk about how I'm feeling and then have it reciprocated back to me to see if I'm right or wrong. So, but our talks, I mean, I don't know if you've been around like two women talking to each other, but they can talk for a really long time. Like I talk for a really long time. But you feel so refreshed afterwards, you know, like each one of us got to be listened to and be heard, and we also got to talk about it, everything, instead of just like man up, you know, because that's what I was getting from my brother. He'd be like, all right, suck it up, Daisy, like can you just move on? I'm like, no, I gotta explore this, man. So
Let me tell you, you brought up a great topic that we haven't gone to in any episodes, because I feel like we can make a whole episode just about this, as rumination. Rumination, I think, is one of the worst things you can possibly do mentally. And that, like, for, I don't know, people know that word. Rumination means like you think on something and then you create like a whole ideology basically in your mind because of one instance or something happening, or and that's one thing about support systems, like we've been talking about. And like, yes, the ribbing, the roasting, the being made shamed. The one good thing I will say about anytime, just you need to put your ideas out there. You need to speak out, like as far as like your mind and what you're thinking. Because if you just ruminate, that's worse. I feel like in the choices of like venting or opening up, like and telling another person or the group about what's going on in your head, or just sitting in your thoughts and like wallowing in it. That is always, I feel like, the worst choice to make.
yeah, and you know, sorry, Andrew, like I'll
No,
let
I
you
was
talk
just
in a
agreeing.
second.
Go.
um you know, I fight with that sometimes too, because sometimes I'm ruminating so much, and then it's hard because I think we're in a very positive, optimistic culture, and so it's hard to come open and vent about things because it's almost like people shy away from that or don't want to hear it. Like they don't want to hear the negative stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really special when you have somebody that's open to all parts of you, not just your good side, you know? And having that trust of, okay, I'm gonna lay some really heavy stuff on you right now, but please stick around, you know? Like, which for me, like, Council of Ricks, you guys and Katie and Aline, Eric have provided that safe space for me, knowing that I can come to you guys and you guys are still going to stick around and we can have like lighthearted conversations, but we can also have pretty deep ones too. And that's so special, right? And hard to find, which is, yeah, it's a little sad it's hard to find, but I'm glad that I have this group, right? So should we end this, or
If you
did you
want.
wanna continue? Or let's hear
No.
Andrew speak. Let's let him have
Yes.
the last word since he's
Oh shit.
taking over.
I think I'm just gonna move around in the frame here just to make this as difficult as possible. I think that I think it's really important to like you said, like having those support systems and like having like a group that you can go and talk to and have fun, but like at the same time know that you can depend on them for that. It's the word that I'm looking for. Uh, like having people that aren't going to just tell you what you want to hear. Like I think that they're going to come at and like inspect the situation from, man, what's the word I'm looking for?
Objectively,
Like in an objective point of view,
mm-hmm.
right? Because like I think like having it's so difficult to take emotion out of things for me. Like if I get upset, which rarely happens, but when I do get upset, it's so hard for me to remove that emotional aspect of it that I have to go and talk to somebody else about it and like get their opinion so that they can tell me, yeah, like you're being overly emotional about this, so that I can kind of like break out of that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's like a huge weak spot for me. I have such a hard time of like removing emotion from decisions and like so that's like something that I really appreciate in someone that I'm talking to, or whenever like I come to the group and like, hey, I have this going on. So yeah, it's really nice thing to have, and it sucks that not everybody has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like how do you find that too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
we got lucky.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
Man, have you ever gone up to someone that you thought was going to give you good advice or like be like kind to you, and they're tremendo pesado? Like you're like, what? Jeez, that happened to me with a physical therapist a long time ago. I was like, why did I ever thought this person was going to be?
You tried them out and it didn't work out.
It was like, wow, like the total like, oh, this guy did not care for me at all. Okay.
Yeah, that's like the definite like feeling out portion of like who you find to like confide in, and sometimes you just get a real dirtbag.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, dude. So, we should wrap this up. I think. Yeah.
Yes.
And,
so, Daisy, where can the nice people follow you while you are on sabbatical?
Well, I do want to say if I have time, I'm going to be on this, and I don't want to like unless you guys want your own thing, but but I would still like to come on every now and then because I might need it since I'm going to be so in my classes. I'll be drowning in them, and I might need this little talk to just get me through the classes. But I'm at Daisy Visiana on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. And our Failing with Style pod is on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. And we're trying to get onto other platforms.
Yes. Like Spotify and Facebook. And I want to work on that.
We'll all work on
it.
It's a
project,
it's a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew doesn't know what he's in for.
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. This is all. There's Instagram.
Did you pack your bags? Yeah. Did you pack your bags or going to New York next week? Okay.
We're speaking at a conference.
Hell yeah. I'm super excited for that. I got to talk to my mentor about it.
Okay, good. Do you want to plug anything, Andrew?
Well, I just wrote a book. It's going to be available on Amazon. So, keep an eye out for that.
What's your book called?
It's untitled still. Yeah. So just keeping a look out for a book that's untitled on Amazon. No cover artwork. It's just going to be a white cover. And my Instagram is Andy's Old Banana, not Andy Sold Banana. Okay. They don't let you put apostrophes in your username. So just FYI.
So I got a few things. One, okay, this is the big call to action for me, ladies and gentlemen. November 21st, I will have my first show at the Miami Improv, which is a big deal. It's the week of Thanksgiving. This is like if there's one thing you were like, hey, maybe I should come out to Raul's shows, this is kind of like the one.
If you love me,
It's
come to my
if you
show.
you know, I didn't say that, but you know,
Yeah. We all
I
heard it.
definitely love
this
you.
is
I'll be there.
that's no worries, no stress. Please come on out. It's a really inexpensive ticket, and we have an all-star lineup of comedians. Some of the best comedians in all South Florida are going to be performing that night, and we have a lot of great surprises, giveaways, and stuff planned for that night. So again, November 21st, Miami Improv. It's a big time show. Also follow me on Funny Raul on my social medias, all of them. I would like to give a shout out to a person who's been very kind to me and to other people. Oh my God, other people I've been working with. Nancy, thank you so much, Nancy. She's been a big help. She's been a fan and a good friend, and she's helped out me and a lot of other people in my life. So shout out to Nancy. She's an awesome person.
Thanks, Nancy, for keeping Raul in check.
All right, Nancy.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right, homies. Love you.
Bye.